3.
Let's see. Test this out really quick. All right. So it still sounds good to you, sir?
Oh yeah, you sound amazing.
Yay!
The best you've ever sounded.
All right, got that open. I got this open. So, for the sake of that sounding weird, I'm gonna turn it off. But oh my God! So last night, I had the lovely visitor of Mr. Smoke Alarm Chirper at like freaking 3:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where you you want to just like, okay, if I just ignore it, it'll go away. And when obviously, there's some like 9-volt backup battery that keeps that chirping going or whatever. Right. And it's triggered when the battery's low or dead. Well, I was praying that it was just low because it'll just chirp for a little bit and it'll go away. But no, I had the feeling that it was dead because I counted at least. It goes in intervals of like 1 minute, and so I counted at least 10 to 15 of them, and I'm like, this isn't going to turn off. So I had to get my freaking happy ass up at 3:30 in the morning. And because it's elevated, I'm like, one of the higher ceilings in any of the rooms in our house, I had to get the 10-foot freaking ladder, tote that sucker inside the house through the dark, while keeping in mind that my son is asleep, so I'm trying to do it as quietly as possible. Thankfully, I had a D battery. Like I keep a steady supply of backup batteries just in case for these events. Obviously, being a dad and, boys and playing with toys that, or girls that require batteries, you tend to just
build. All types.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. You tend to just build a rotating inventory of batteries. Amazon has gotten plenty of my money in regards to the rechargeable battery purchases. But yeah, that took me about 15 minutes, and just go right back to sleep. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of struggling at the moment.
There's nothing in this. There's not very many things when it comes to your home that annoy me more than the chirp when it happens. Like I cannot function as a human if that is happening.
Nope.
No matter the time of day, like I can't, especially at night. Like I if I don't fix it, I will never go to sleep.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah. Ready to get this thing started? I'm ready to go.
Let's do it.
Let's go. We got to get this off our chest now. Ready?
We got to do it. Let's do it.
In 5. Hey, everybody. It is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. This is the MC Gamescast, episode 26. I'm your co-host, Charlie Zarzuela, with my buddy, Mitchell Barrett. Mitch, what's going on your Tuesday, sir?
Not much, and I love that you did that intro, and I heard every single word loud and clear. Things are going great. We are off to a fantastic start, which means that the rest of the show is going to be a disaster, and I can't fucking wait.
And the rest of this show, speaking of, it's a special show today. We're going to fill you in on what that special show is all about, but just to kind of give you a little teaser, the title of today's show is Test Your Might. I can't, not say it anymore. I've been keeping it quiet. I don't know why. I came up with this idea about 2 weeks ago, and it's filled my head. And like I said in my stream last night, my Fallout stream last night, I've been thinking about it, dreaming about it, and for some reason, Mortal Kombat, the old Midway video game from the early 90s, has just, lived inside my soul for the last 2 weeks, and I have to like find some ways to air out those feels and stuff. We've got a special show lined up for you today. Before we go into that, though, sir, I do want to promote that we got some merch. We got some really cool merch. Mitch, what is that? What's that link, man? Where can these folks find our merch at?
Well, the link can be found if you're watching on VOD on YouTube, or if you are listening via your favorite podcast network. You can catch that link below in the description. The link, we'll just throw it out. It's merch.streamelements.com/Team Llama Squad, and you can get yourself some of that hot MC Gamescast merch. You could get you a nice T-shirt, which I have one of the T-shirts. It's a fantastic T-shirt. Feels really good. Looks really nice. And then the hoodie, which Charlie owns and has given quite good reviews as well. You can get one of those on there. We'll probably add some other little fun stuff, such as the coffee mugs and the mouse pad and all those little things that you may want. But yeah, if you want something to show your love for the MC Gamescast, grab a piece of merch. We've got the prices such to where you're not paying too much above cost. So we're not gouging you for profits. We just want you guys to have this stuff if you want it.
Yeah, man, you can see like our little logo. Hold on, let me get in the camera right there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you your logo on a nice little like shirt.
That's such a good logo.
I happened to win mine in our localized contest, and it is mine. But no, now it is belongs to the missus. She's commandeered it as she would any of my warm stuff. It looks great on her, man. So
you'll never get that back.
Go grab that, dude. It's February. What? It's we're through the first month. Oh my God, that was a fast month. What did you do in your I guess final days of January?
Not a whole heck of a lot. I cleaned the house. Namely, I got the kids' rooms nice and cleaned. Their rooms are. I know you have this problem too, where no matter how clean you get their room, it immediately gets annihilated within minutes, and it's just a frustrating, vicious cycle that you never actually ever catch up on. So I fought with that. Cooked some stuff. Made some delicious jalapeno sausage the other day. That was really good. Made some chicken. Food is great. Played some video games, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But other than that, and my car's in the shop, so that's fun. But I finally was able to get a loaner while they're fixing my car, which the loaner was my exact model, except a couple years newer. So it's so the car is absolutely no different. I was kind of hoping to get something different. You know, when you you either get a rental or you get a loaner like that, you always kind of wish you get something a little different from what you have, just to see what something else feels like. Well, I didn't get that, but that's okay. So that was my weekend. It's the weekend, the calm before the storm, which is the Super Bowl 55. So didn't really get much into the sports, but this weekend though, big game. What about you, Charlie?
Man, like there were no sports this weekend. It seemed like, gosh, like I talked to my dad several times. He is feeling better. And he's like, he literally like plants himself on one of two channels, the History Channel, as one grandfather does, and the NFL Network. And
sure,
obviously it's those conversations where, back in my day Brady couldn't have survived this and da 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 da, and he's got his Roger Staubach. I've got my Troy Aikman, and my kid will have Dak one day, maybe. I'm not sure, But it's all about the comparisons of like different eras and stuff like that. And, like
sure.
the video game world has the same thing, like which game is better in which era and such and such. But not to go too far off track. Yeah, we talked a little bit, and he's doing better. And it's always fun to talk with him and be like, hey, like how's things going? And he's definitely doing the grandfather bit where he understands, like son yelling in the background, and I can hear a little chuckle under his voice as he's like,
sure.
let me let you go.
Yeah.
See, because I know you got things you got to take care of. You got to take care of some business in the background, as he can hear and feel the dinosaurs that are just constantly pelting my head on this line. But yeah, that was pretty much the stay of my weekend. I mean, I had to go to the office on the windiest of days. Good Lord, like
It was crazy. That was really a crazy windy day.
well,
We don't
and
get those often.
so one of our buddies, one of our coworkers, he was up there, and I didn't recognize him at first because I left the building, out the front, and so I was going out the side, and that kind of that little thoroughfare that's underneath the sky bridge.
Mm-hmm.
If the wind is just right and whipping just the right way,
Oh yeah.
it becomes this ridiculous, almost like a test wind tunnel.
Yeah.
And so I saw this guy. He was kind of like rummaging in the bushes. And I'm like, who is this little, like, this hobo dude just kind of like trying to search for some stuff? That was my first initial reaction. And then I looked again and I was like, oh, he might work here and he might be looking for his badge or something. But I was kind of in that state where, call me a bad person, but I'd been at work on a day when I should have been at work for like 6 hours, and I just wanted to go home. And I was like, sorry, buddy, you're on your own. I like literally took a beeline straight to my car. He came to my desk on Monday. I'm trying to so his last name is the president that got shot in Dallas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes.
I felt so super bad, man, because
no.
first of all, like my first impression again, I was like, who is this hobo looking guy? Because again, he's like rummaging through the bushes, and so he's asking me, he's like, hey Charlie, did you leave the office between 1:30 or 2 o'clock? I'm like, yeah, I did. He's like, I think I saw you. And I'm like, oh my God, was that you, dude? And, not to delve on it like too much longer, but basically what had happened was when he wears glasses,
Oh no.
As he said, as soon as he opened the side door, he went out the side.
Yeah.
And the wind literally took his glasses off of him. And, he's not, I don't know how you are without your glasses, but he was telling me he can't see anything.
Oh no,
he was literally a blind man searching through the bushes looking for his glasses.
Oh, poor guy. That sucks.
And I'm like, dude. And I told him what.
And here's Charlie, who can see just fine.
Oh yeah.
Just like, you're on your own, you hobo. Oh my God. I'm a monster. I love it.
We had a laugh about it because I told him, I told him my exact reaction to it. I told him, I was like, I didn't know who this guy was from Adam. Good luck, buddy, finding your badge. What I thought he, may have been a dude who lost his badge and stuff. And, we had a laugh about it. He still hasn't found them. And so, I know Charlie is a horrible person. I know. Hey man, dude, freaking wandering through the wasteland, dude. You gotta fend for yourself. I'm in Fallout mode right now. But before we go into that, just to conclude that story, we talked to each other about that, and I asked him today again if he had found it. He's like, no. Well, then, also think of this. So he could barely see, without glasses.
Hmm?
You haven't asked me the question, how did he get home? Because he never found his glasses.
Well,
So
yeah.
he's got a
Oh boy.
wonderful wife that had to drive up to the
I was about to say, did he have to get the missus to come and get
yeah,
him?
the missus had to come
Uh
up and pick him
oh,
up,
so he
and
okay, so then he's worse off than I am then because
oh yeah,
if
man.
I lost my glasses, I should not drive without my glasses, but I could function. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mean Green, just to give you an idea, the gentleman that Charlie and I are talking about, he is in our fantasy football league, so you know who it is,
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, man, that's hilarious. Next time I
Yes.
see him, I'm gonna have to first of all I'm gonna have to apologize for you.
I've done my share of apologizing. I've dragged my own name through the dirt at the
So
last
I
2 days. So
Charlie decided that
yeah.
you weren't worth anybody's time. Oh, that's
Oh my
so good.
gosh.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story.
But yeah, but and to answer to a rebuttal to Mean Green's comment in the chat, yes, Addison is as far from a wasteland as you can get. I agree with that there, and that's going to segue into what the heck we have been playing. I'm going to
Hmm.
talk about what I've been playing later on. Obviously, I've been playing Fallout 4. Check out my streams at Charzar81 at twitch.tv. Still going through the wasteland there. But I'm going to open up the floor for my man, Mitch. I know you are the Rocket League man. You got some news? You got something? You got more than Rocket League, maybe? What you got?
I do. I'm going to start with the more than Rocket League first.
Ooh.
For the first time since the Xbox Series X and S has come out, there is a new brand, like a brand spanking new game. It's an exclusive game, and it is a next generation game. So I went and checked it out. It's called The Medium, and this is on Game Pass, Xbox Series X and S exclusive. This is a psychological horror thriller, which is absolutely not up my alley in terms of type of game. But I wanted to check it out because I wanted to see what a game that was made specifically for a next generation console, what it looks like, what it feels like. Um, and I was not disappointed. It looks really, really nice. More specifically in kind of the texture artwork and the lighting and shadow, um and reflections. That's a next gen ass looking game when it comes to that kind of stuff. I was very impressed with the reflections. One of the early scenes is you're walking outside while it's raining, and the reflections of the buildings around you and the lighting is very, very impressive. Um, it is, like I said, it's not my style of game, so I probably will not continue to play it because it is tense as hell. um it
Tense
does have this
AF.
Oh my god, it does have this really cool mechanic which I did not see yet, but I have seen in action, where so in the game, um you are a person that has basically the medium, which is you can see and go to the afterlife. And so they've got this mechanic where you're walking around the room in modern day real life, but it's split screen to where you're also seeing what it looks like on the other side. And it you basically you're controlling the character moving around in the same space. It's not like Brothers, where you're controlling two separate characters. You're controlling the one character, and that seems really neat. Um, I've seen some of the jump scare stuff and some of the creepy stuff, and
Hmm.
it's very impressive. It really it made me really uh get geared up to see people play the new Resident Evil 8. Um,
Okay.
because because that game is being made for next gen consoles, as the main console, and I can't wait to see what that looks like. It already looks like it's extremely well done. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to see what the next gen looks like, and if this is kind of what the kind of entry level next gen stuff is, the next gen's gonna be a really fucking cool thing, and I can't wait to see as stuff goes along. I just can't wait till they put out a game that is my style of game. And anyway, so that was cool. I always talk about Rocket League, but I wanted to bring this up because Charlie, this would interest you, and actually it'll interest Mean Green in the chat as well. So with Super Bowl 55 coming up this week, Rocket League is doing a crossover event with the NFL, where in the item shop you can purchase decals for your cars with the NFL team logos and things like that. But they have a limited time mode called the Gridiron.
Okay.
And it is a 4-on-4 chaotic game where instead of the Rocket League soccer ball, it is a straight up football. And the object of the game is you get to you want to score in a Rocket League style goal. Well, if you are carrying the football into the goal, it counts as a touchdown, and you get 7 points. If you if you kick the ball into the goal, so if you get the ball in the goal without holding the ball, you get a field goal. You get 3 points.
Did I miss? How do you carry the ball?
So if you basically run up and hit the ball like you would normally, it attaches to the top of your car.
Oh, okay.
And until
Nice.
until someone hits the ball off of your car or hits the car, you carry the football. Well, Mean Green, to answer your question, yes, it is like Spike Rush, where you get where basically the ball is attached to it, but when you do a flip, you can flick the ball forward. When you flip it forward, basically it sends it tumbling forward. If you do a barrel roll,
roll.
If you do a barrel roll, it does a tight spiral throw. And so what ends up happening, and our friend of the show, Nico Bambi, and I did this a lot, where so when someone scores, the ball gets kicked off to the other team. They get possession of the ball. And so what we would do is, if one of us got possession of the kick, the other one would start to race down the field, and then the person that received the ball would then throw the ball like an actual pass, and you would try to go up and, quote, catch it and fly into the goal.
God.
So the first couple of games that I played it tonight, I hated it.
Okay.
Hated it.
It's because all the mechanics are brand new and stuff like that, or
well, it was mostly the other players. The other players on your team, on my teams, were stealing the ball from each other. They weren't trying to throw it. They weren't doing the game how it's supposed to be played. They were just trying to run the ball all the way down the field and try to score on their own. And that's just, when there's 4 other opponents, it just doesn't work that way.
Devin Hester.
Well, they were pretty much trying to Dante Hall Devin Hester.
There you go.
And that just doesn't work very well. Well, once I got Nick on my team, and then we started playing with other people that seemed to kind of understand how to play it, it might be my favorite thing in Rocket League ever. It's so good. Like, the strategies in it are interesting. Like, I had a moment where a teammate threw the ball across the field to someone else. They received it and then immediately threw it forward to where, in this case, Nick was streaking towards the goal. He flies up in the air, catches it, and flies into the goal. And it's so neat.
Oh my! Wow!
It's really incredible. I am going to stream this tomorrow.
I was gonna ask. I was like, dude, this sounds like something you need to stream, brother.
Oh yeah, tomorrow night,
Get back on the scene,
Llama
buddy.
Squad. I'm gonna do Ryan. I know that you're kind of, kind of wavering in and out of Rocket League. You will love this. It's so chaotic. It's so stupid. It is the dumbest mode I've ever played, but it's also the most fun. It's so ridiculous. I love it. I'm gonna stream it tomorrow night. Charlie, everybody in chat, you need to come check it out
Yes.
because it's so silly.
We will
It's
be there,
running
man.
through. Yeah, it's running through the Super Bowl, and it's going to run into next week as well. So you've got basically a full week to play it. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I love it so much. Also, I've been playing Rumble. I've stopped my crusade in regular doubles to get the diamond. I'm just not having a lot of fun right now. The ranking system is all jacked up. So I've been playing Rumble, which has been a lot of fun. So I'm using Rumble to try to get to diamond. But Rocket League's great. But yeah, check that out tomorrow night. That's all I got. Charlie, you tell me about stuff
Oh my
now.
gosh, I will tell you about stuff. Hello, Smithy. How are you, brother? I've been playing Fallout 4. I've been playing Fallout 4 a lot. I still love that game. There's a lot of that game left that I will be playing. It seems like for the foreseeable future. Hopefully, I can get it done before something comes out, which we'll be discussing in the news later on.
That
But
ain't
no,
happening.
that game is great. What was it 1, 2, 3 months with a spring break in the middle? We'll see. It'll be close. The only problem I have again is the loading screen. I'm gonna try out. I've said this before, and I keep saying that. I don't like mods too much because I'm afraid that once I load up a mod, that it's going to tweak something in the stock game. I'm playing this on my PC, that it's going to require another mod to fix what the first mod undid. So apparently, there's a mod out there that. It's like a load accelerator specifically that specifically addresses the loading times for Fallout 4 that have been a huge issue regarding playing on the PC. But
Right.
that was standing. I love that game. That game is great. I can go on and on about that game. Another game that I have been playing, and I just kind of picked this up because it was a Saturday morning and I kind of needed something to do, and homeboy was playing behind me and watching his TV, and I was like, I'm sitting here in front of my my computer monitors, and I'm like, I don't want to play Fallout because if I want to play Fallout, I'd like to stream it or whatever. And so I was just kind of digging through my library, and for some dumb reason, I opened up Final Fantasy X, and it's a great game. That thing looks okay. So it looked very, very good on the PS2 way back in its day. God, what was that? 2000? That's got to have been 2000. Again, this is the first Final Fantasy game that I played, but yeah, it was 2000 when I played it. It looked great then, especially compared to like the 16 to 32-bit sprites that had come out from the SNES and like the PlayStation 1 and stuff like that. But playing the remastered build that had come out, it's grouped with Final Fantasy X2, which, as great as Final Fantasy X is, Final Fantasy X-2 is about as, a gift to the fandom as you can get, plus a whole bunch of K-pop, plus... I don't know. I tried playing that game. That just could not enrapture me like Final Fantasy X did.
No,
but no, stuck in the middle of it. I'm just grinding away like I used to. I still love the sphere grid leveling system that's in that game. That's really fun. The characters are varied enough, especially in that game, to make every battle seem different. So even though I'm grinding my way through areas where there's a lot of commonality and the enemies that kind of just spawn out of nowhere, I'm, again, trying to level everybody up as fast as I can, as quickly as I can, and, obviously I have to interchange people in and out. And one thing I do like about this game is that it has a very turn-based passive system. I know that previous renditions had that sort of style, but a little more of an active system, kind of like a hybrid system beneath. This one I could literally like leave during the middle of a battle and come back, and nothing has happened, thankfully.
Right.
So that's Final Fantasy X. I'm enjoying that. I'm going to enjoy it going forward.
Can I?
Go interject if you need to. What's up?
I was going to say, first of all, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Final Fantasy X is an incredible game, and that remaster is great. If you don't mind me asking, where are you in your current playthrough?
So, home has been destroyed. We took off in the Machina, in the Isle of Besaid, and we just stormed Bavel, in the middle of the wedding, and now we're trying to get the F out of Dodge right now because we have been deemed fugitives by the law, by the holy law of Yevon. So
yeah, Square promised all the Final Fantasies on Game Pass, and they still have not put 10 on there, and I'm very upset. They actually just announced that 12 is coming next week, which I'm excited for.
12's good, man. 12's really good.
But I want maybe I don't want 10 because then I'm just going to drop everything and play 10.
10 is the only one I've ever beaten. Like,
it's so good.
Straight out. And I'm talking like I went back. I had the guide. I love this game so much that I purchased the guide in the middle of it back when, guides were in vogue.
Yeah.
I went in and got as many of the what's those called? The special basically the elite weapons for every character.
The ultimate weapons.
Yeah, the ultimate weapons. I went in and did that. I have fought the Omega. Oh God, I can't think of his name. But yeah, so I've literally like maxed out that game to the point where like, wow, I didn't think I could put any more time into it. But the remastered version is showing me that there are things in it, like the sounds are better. They put like a more orchestral tone to a lot of the music, which is really, really nice. They've done what they could with the up-resing of the graphics. There's only so much you can do with that without really going in. And the cinematics, like back then, this was the the pinnacle of CG cinematics. Yeah. So
it was the showpiece of the PlayStation 2. It's a shame that the remaster could do nothing to make Blitzball even worth looking at again.
I am recruiting my Blitzball team, man.
You're insane. You're insane.
I actually I picked up. It was really cool because like it's more of I guess it's a cloud-based system because I had it on my original my gaming PC, and then I uploaded it on the new PC. I didn't like transfer any of the save files or anything like that, and I picked up right where I left off, playing it in like 2017 or something like that. So
is it the Steam version?
Yeah.
Then yeah, it's cloud save.
Yeah. So
I bet you once I get 10 on the Xbox through Game Pass, I bet you my cloud save will be there.
Yeah, like it's very, very good. So and I was very delighted. Honestly, like I was kind of like bummed. I was like, oh, I really wanted to start from the very beginning. But then I thought about it, I'm like, well, that's a lot of calm lands grinding that I have to do all over again. So I was like, okay, we'll pick up right here. It's fine. But that's a great game. One final game that I did play, again, because I am playing Fallout 4, anything and everything Wasteland is kind of having me attract to it like a fly to ointment. And Fallout New Vegas was on the PlayStation Now. And boy, does that game like show its age. I know our buddy Sturm, MC Gamecast friend Sturm Rage on Twitch, he has been streaming that game mostly through his PC, right? And that game, again, like that thing may be great, that thing might be like the best of all the Fallout games, but it's like I was trying to relate some type of metaphor the other day. It's like, I'm driving a Lamborghini and I have to backtrack to like a Lexus or something like that. It was basically those lines, and you just feel like the difference like immediately. You can see everything that they've kind of streamlined for Fallout 4, Bethesda. I'm referring to in regards to the weapon systems, the upgrading system, the perk system. The old Fallout games, Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, are definitely more leaning toward RPG, like traditional RPG, where it's almost like a Dark Souls, Demon Souls game where the little micro perks within the game system, you want to talk about customizable. Like that thing is about as broken down as like a game like Cyberpunk now, where there's like systems beneath the system that you can upgrade specifically. Like there's that. There's the shooting's bad. We've agreed that Bethesda is not amongst the leaders in first person shooting in its mechanics nor in its execution. However, I've always been like an apologizer for it, saying, "Oh, it's in the apocalypse. Not everything's supposed to work right." However, there is a lot more with the older games that I have noticed that I used to apologize a lot for, and I cannot go back to that now. Sturm Rage, you and I, we had a little respite in regards to the weapon condition that you would have to constantly have to fix your weapon over and over and over again. And while I get that that's very, very attuned to like what the setting is, post-apocalypse, nothing is going to work. Everything is put together with duct tape and welded together, with, torches and stuff. But there's a point where like I don't want that to be a true simulator. I want it to be an arcadey style, shooting experience. And Bethesda seems to have not mastered it, but like improved upon it and moved forward toward that type of gameplay in Fallout 4 versus like Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3, where again these games were like 10 years. I'm trying to remember 2008
2008 for Fallout 3, and then
I want to say 2010 for Fallout New Vegas. So you're talking about a game that's like well over a decade, and like you do with your systems with what you can at the time. And, like, again, I'm playing the much more improved game now, and to have to go backwards toward that, I just don't have the inclination to have to fight through those, much more meticulous systems from that. Fallout New Vegas, apparently, from you and from Sturm Rage, has a great story. I may, follow through it euphorically through Sturm Rage's streams, but I don't know. I don't think I can go backwards to that game, unfortunately.
No, it's very difficult, and like that, like to me, that game's great. Like, I love that game. New Vegas is great, but they put it on Game Pass a couple years ago, or last year, and I tried again, and I just can't. It really does feel like an old generation game when you play it. And so, it's a great game, but it'll have to stay in that capsule.
Yep. And these are the games that we have played. Just to reset, this is the MC Gamescast episode 26. And you know what time it is right now, buddy? It's time for the news. And this news is brought to you by the craziness of the stock market and Reddit. They didn't pay us to say that, but it pretty much is. It seems like for the last 10 days, The one of the top stories over the last few weeks has been the GameStop stock just going through the roof, thanks to some individuals in the private sector trying to screw over the hedge fund, the billionaire hedge fund guys, and doing it successfully, might I add. It seems like now that we are at the other side of this craze. I just looked on the stock market, and it fell over 100 points today, resting back at like $80 a share to $90 a share. So yes, don't go and think it's going to go back up, guys. I just want to make you guys awares of that. But this little story I picked up, which I thought was really, really cool. There was a 20-year-old college student. He donated multiple Nintendo Switches and Nintendo Switch games to a children's Minnesota hospital in Minneapolis after cashing out $30,000 in GameStop stocks. So, you know,
cool.
not
That's
all
cool.
of these guys are douchebags that are trying to placate on this. You know, like he may have been just right place, right time, and you know, good on him to donate, give a little back to like the community that wants to play some video games. So,
Have you been to the Reddit channel, the Wall Street Bets or whatever, the group? Oh my God.
oh, I jumped in a couple
The,
times.
the biggest group of douchebags you would ever imagine. It's
They are crushed it. They're all that
Oh
guy.
my God. They're just so. Oh God. I almost. I wanted to vomit after going in and like oh my God, so bad. But this is cool. That's cool. That a little giving back. That's always you love to see it, Charlie. You
Mm-hmm.
love to see it.
Definitely. And speaking of coming back, Mitch, you got something big that's coming back.
That yeah,
Okay,
man.
come on.
So earlier today on the Twitters, the EA Sports Twitter account posted a picture, and it was basically it looked like the end zone of a football field with some confetti on it, and it simply said, "College football is coming back to EA Sports." Uh, they have not made a college football game since 2013, and one of the reasons
RG3.
why, one of the reasons, no, that's Denard Robinson was on the cover.
Oh, that's right. That's
13,
right. That's right. Yeah, you're right.
yes, yes.
Very right.
So,
I own
uh,
that game.
yeah, that's weird that you got that wrong. Why do I know that? And why do I know that and you don't? That's terrible. Um,
The
and
more
one
you
of the,
know.
one of the biggest reasons why they stopped making the game was licensing rights with the players. They flew way too close to the sun when it came to likenesses. Yes, RG3 was 13. Um, with likenesses and not paying those people for those likenesses. Basically, what they would do is we'll just take the example of 2020. Basically, they would have on Clemson, they would have Trevor Lawrence. They would have a kind of a white guy that kind of looked like him a little bit. His number, his complete stats, like everything except for his name,
Mm-hmm.
and that they got in trouble for that, and so they didn't. So ESPN put out an article today, thanks to Mean Green for forwarding this to me earlier, that kind of talked a little bit about what this is going to mean. This will not be out this year. It will
No.
be at least another year before we see this. Uh, there was thought that they were going to, because it seems that the NCAA players were getting very close, whether it's via the NCAA, the uh, Congress, one of the two, it was going to basically be like, hey, amateur athletes can now monetize themselves. And so people were like, oh, okay, so now we're going to get to see the players in these games. Well, they're not going as far as saying that yet. They're saying that for now, they're going to go with very generic players, No names, nothing. Basically, the other side of, and not, flying too close to the sun with that. They've already said that they've signed agreements with over 100. Um, I almost said Division One. It's not Division One. It's the FCS
FCS.
teams, and they have all the rights to that. So it's going to be all that, and it will be called EA Sports College Football. They're not going back to NCAA in the year. It's going to be college football. It will be the title going forward. So college football's back, and that's good for that. I love that. I always liked the college football video game way more than Madden. Even though I've always liked pro football, the real sport, over college football, I've just always loved the college football game. So it'll. I'm looking forward to them getting back into that game.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Speaking to a game that I poured hours and hours and hours and hours in and simulated several seasons. I think I finally have eclipsed that one from, like, was it 2003, 2004? Oh boy, that was a lot of college football. That's good to see that a namesake like that, even though it's not going to be NCAA, is going to be coming back into the fold.
Hell yeah.
Another game that is coming back into the fold that we know of this year, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, is officially coming May 14th.
Yep.
And today they released the trailer for that. You can see it on YouTube. You can see it on IGN's website. I'm getting all my feels back for that game because it looks so pretty. It looks so good.
Yeah,
and
and to me, it's less about the trailer, but it was about the information they dropped.
There was a lot of information in regards to, like, what they are changing. Obviously they're doing the most changes to Mass Effect 1, the oldest of all three. That one is becoming more like its successors 2 and 3 in its gameplay style. I did hear that they're redoing the Mako, unfortunately.
Oh, shut up. I don't want to hear it. No.
They're going to... I love that thing. Don't get me wrong, but we'll see. They're going to make it a little more ground-based. They're going to make it more sensible, make sense, to be honest. That not was said. It will still have its little booster performance rockets to carry it around. There is going to be less elevator rides that you'll be taking in that game.
Did you see the numbers?
No, I haven't seen any of the numbers yet.
So they said on the elevators in Mass Effect 1, they would take well over a minute. They're saying now that they're going to take less than 15 seconds.
It's like Fallout 4. No elevator.
And on the new consoles on SSD, they'll be even quicker, to the point to where you'll have the option to skip all the dialogue because it loads so quickly.
Yeah. And, like, it added flavor. It added, a little more zest to the universe. But, there's nothing that was too groundbreaking in those conversations unless you happen to bring the right, party with you. And even then, it was just like, playful banter back and forth. I did like the elevator rides, like, just for that. But
they're
seeing as they're going to try to make it more action-based, kind of like 2 and 3 was, they're going to introduce the cover-based system like 2 and 3 had. You forget that Mass Effect didn't even really have a cover-based system. You just kind of got behind something and just hope and prayed,
Pretty much, yeah.
There's going to be more emphasis on melee. I'll be interested to know where they put the grenade button, because that was the back button. When you played it. Yeah, you'll think they'll just remap that to a different button, which is fine.
Well,
you got something?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say until this announcement today, I was probably not going to get this thing because they had not
Now you
talked at
are.
all. They had not talked at all about any of these upgrades, like talking about what they're doing to these games. So, up until today, the thought is it's just going to be these games.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that meant that it only had two games because Mass Effect 1, the original state of Mass Effect 1, is not a good video game when especially in comparison to 2 and 3.
It's third,
But
yeah, definitely.
it that's not to say that's not to say that at the time it wasn't great. I love Mass Effect. I love the story of the original Mass Effect, but it doesn't hold up. But the stuff that they're doing to this, they talked about how they're going to fix the inventory system in
Yep.
one, which is
Oh.
a colossal garbage fire.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Did you hear if they said anything about the overheating system? Because obviously in 2 and 3 they went more on an ammunition system in regards to the shooting.
it didn't say specifically, but
I would think that they would include that over a course of all three just to make it.
Well, and I that's what I'm wondering because they did talk about how
Streamlined.
they're going to make it. Yeah, they're going to. Well, then they're making it to where 1 is more like 2 and 3. So, that seems like that's what would happen. And they did the most work on graphics for the first game.
Oh boy.
And I've seen some screenshots and some of it in motion, and it looks really good. Like there's no mistaking it for a PlayStation 4 or Xbox game, but it looks really good. The lighting looks really nice. And yeah, if they're doing the changes that they're doing for 1, yeah, I am back in on it. I think that's cool.
Well, I think it's really cool that they went back to the original artists and got their input on this.
Oh yeah,
because obviously
play the game over and over again to find those things they can change.
Yeah, like obviously those guys, they were hindered by the technology of their times, and now they're like, oh god, I now have all this at my disposal. Oh my god, what can I do with, all of this stuff now? Like I just had this little like pixel back in the day. Now I've got a huge palette that I can like add more lighting, add more color to it, add more texture.
It looks awesome.
The greatness about this thing, it's going to come with all the DLC packed in it, which is fan-fucking-tastic.
Especially that number 2 DLC.
I mean,
those DLCs for 2
there's
so good.
very few DLC in this series that I really didn't like. There were some obviously that were just like, okay, we're here to just have like a fun run and shoot kind of thing.
I mean, the Mass Effect 1 DLC is kind of like that. It's just kind of like, okay, you go to the moon.
Yeah.
But 2 is so, oh god.
Yeah, 2 is
Shadow
filled. 3, you have the Leviathan, you have the Prothean that you play with, that you can start from the very beginning. To just fill in more of that world. And the cool thing too is that, apparently the extended cut, yes, Shadow Broker for the win. Thank you, Mean Green.
Best DLC of all time.
Yes.
Of any game.
Yes, I agree with you. The final, so there was a final like extended cut that was included as like part of like DLC to purchase. After many Mass Effect 3 players were really upset about the original ending of that game, that is now just come packed in with that game. So they talked to some of the creators, and they're saying that extended cut, that extended ending is going to be the official ending of that particular trilogy now. So you don't have to worry about that aspect. And to be honest, I've still yet to see that. So I am kind of excited. I know of it. I've not like just watched it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know what goes on, but I want to like see it like, in full. And speaking of, they're saying that this is going to be rendered 4K, 60 frames per second. Obviously better on like the more newer consoles and stuff. But God, man, Mass Effect, bro.
Right. Well, and one thing I will say, you brought up the next gen. They are not doing any extra work to the next gen versions. No. It's just
what the actual console can do.
Right. Yeah,
Yep.
and they said that you'll get the certain benefits like the faster load times on SSD and the 4K and HDR. But yeah, it's cool. I'm looking forward to this. And May 14th, that's perfect because that gets us into the early summer months right before whatever E3 is going to be. And yeah, it's a good little appetizer for the remainder of 21.
And finally,
Hmm.
finally, Stadia still exists. There's a little
It
Stadia news that you said, right, though?
it does still exist, but there was Stadia news. Google announced that they are closing all of their internal game development studios that were working on developing games specifically for Stadia. And they've kind of restructured some things. The basically the head of Stadia was let go. They are focusing more on just the technology itself and third party support. Apparently, they're saying that Stadia is not going anywhere. It's going to be this. It's that the service itself is doing just fine, but they've kind of moved on from making their own stuff. So that's that's unfortunate, I guess. I they never really announced what any of those games were, so it's not like anybody was kind of disappointed. So but it still exists.
Well, man, that's the end of the news. Tell us what new releases we got this week.
We there's sorry, I was reading the
Oh,
chat.
sorry.
There's only one. Yeah, we got one new release. Destruction All Stars for the PlayStation 5 via the PlayStation Plus.
What is that?
I don't I don't know much about it. It is kind of it's a vehicular combat game. Not it doesn't seem like it's Twisted Metal. It seems like it's more towards kind of the destruction derby side of vehicular combat. Um, but that's Sony's next big kind of exclusive. It's out today.
Oh,
It looks
jeez.
like it has a lot of attitude if you're into that. Um, yeah, that's out. I see a couple of my streaming friends are streaming it right now. But it's free on.
It
It's
looks like
free on.
Rocket League that's been sponsored by Monster, Rockstar,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
and the WWE.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the only new release this week, and it's going to be like that until we get into kind of the end of February. If
Hey, man.
unless you find something for next week, we may not actually have a new release segment because I don't think there's anything.
Uh, you know, we don't always have to have new releases. Come on now.
We
So
don't, Charlie. It's time. We got to
yeah,
get to it.
yeah. That's the news.
It's time.
That's the news. News. Now it is time for our next segment, our special segment, our MK segment. Dude, Mortal Kombat. Let's start with. You want to start off with the game or the movie? I know, like you're chomping at the bit
I want to talk about the
get
game
this,
first.
but
I want to save the movie for last.
well, this is the segment. Remember the game? We are doing Mortal Kombat Deuce.
Yes, we are. I don't have a lot of history with Mortal Kombat 2. I was more of an original Mortal Kombat guy. Um, I know enough about Mortal Kombat 2 to know that obviously the roster is expanded, introduced some new characters. It also finally introduced blood to the Super Nintendo version because all you got was sweat in the original. It, the Mortal Kombat was such a hot button topic back in the mid 90s, not just with gamers, but obviously Congress and the entire world, areas of the world banning the game. And it was such a hot stove topic. Um, and I think sometimes what gets lost, what I know one thing that definitely got lost back in the mid 90s is that those games were incredible. They were
Mm-hmm.
so good. The arcade and the home fighting. I mean, it started the rivalry with Street Fighter.
Yep.
It's so good. Now, Charlie, I know that you've got a deep history with Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, I Mortal Kombat 2 is actually the first one that I played with extensive exposure to it. Obviously, played the first one at the arcade several times, and just watching that thing in the arcade just enthralled me. I was like, oh my god, like video games can do that, you know? And this, you know, freaked out parents, you know, nationwide. They're like, oh god, games are so violent now, da 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 da. Whatever. It got to the point where I was so enthralled with Mortal Kombat that for one of the news articles, I incorporated Mortal Kombat and Sub-Zero in a poem or whatever, basically, in like the school newsletter, in a Catholic school newsletter. And so, you know, it passed the mustard there, so, you know, whatever. But when it came to Mortal Kombat 2, I played this more than I did Street Fighter 2. I gravitated a lot more to the characters more in this game. I mean, Street Fighter 2 is huge. And maybe it could also be due to the fact that I was good at Mortal Kombat 2. I knew all the moves. I kept a binder of all the players' moves. Like, you know, I actually took myself to a keyboard to like literally write down, you know, up, down, you know, all the different moves for all the characters, all the different combos, all the different like types of fatalities in that game that each character can get. And like, I would memorize those things all the time. I was good at that game. Street Fighter 2, my cousin, you know, Joe, he owned me at that game. I could not beat him for the life of me. We'd always go to a third round, but I could never beat him. With Mortal Kombat 2, though, like I seemed to like have found like a different level when it came to that game. I would play with my classmates a lot, and like, you know, they would have their copies, I would have my copies. I'd play with my brother all the time. Good Lord, we had epic fights, and then there were also times where I had epic runs on him where I would literally win like 30 in a row. And you know, like in the game, when you win like, you know, a match, you would get like an MK like little decal that's like on the screen, and it would keep the streak going. Well, then for every 10 times that you won, you would get this, you know, MK2 emblem. Well, then if you won 30, you would get a gold emblem or whatever. And like, I think my brother, thankfully he wasn't as strong at the time, because he chunked my Super NES controller. And big ups to the SNES controller back in the day. Those things can hold their own water when it comes to damage, you know, integrity or whatever. Going back to the game, it took one, and then it basically, you know, injected steroids into it. Like you said, the SNES version was all sweat. In one, in two, it was you know, you had the good stuff. You had the blood. You had like, you know, the awesome fatalities where you toss a person into the acid pool and they would turn into a skeleton. That you had the pit. In the first game, I'm trying to remember. I think there were only 7 characters. And in the third game, they had beefed up to 16. Not the third game, the second game. I'm crossing my heads here, whatever. There were hidden characters in the game, which I thought was really, really cool. You could play, you know, you could unlock Smoke in the first game through different variables, wherever. You can unlock the champion Goro in that game if you wanted to. Street Fighter really didn't have anything like this. I don't know if it was just Midway's answer to the popularity of Street Fighter, because like they were coming out with like these brand new ways. You can by the third game, you know, I'm breaching away a little bit from 2, but by the third game, there were title screen or fight screen codes that you would put in, you know, mutators to change up every type of fight, you know. The characters were so varied. They were so full of these backstories that were like really, really interesting. And you wanted to beat the game with different characters just to see what type of writing would come out, like how they all integrated with each other. Sniffy Fingers in the chat. He's got Noob Saibot and Kung Lao. Kung Lao, dude, was an epiphany in 2. Like, he was like the like Liu Kang is the descendant of Kung Lao. Well, Kung Lao is actually in this game, and he had that spinning hat that could slice people in half. You had people like Katana, who would wield her fans. You had Melina with her size. You had Baraka, this race of outworld mutants. Jax was trying to save Sonya in this game. And then you had obviously a feud between Scorpion and Sub-Zero that continues to this day. Look at the background of our MC Gamescast stream. That's the epitome of Mortal Kombat, is the fight between these two ninjas. Sindel was my main woman. Yeah, Sindel, she came in the third one. The third one didn't jump in the shark too much, but boy, it like really harnessed. It really took the essence of a game like Killer Instinct, which was all about the combo system. And they're like, you know what? We can do combos too. Like specialized, key sequence combos that it incorporated into the game. This game, like, I could keep talking like forever and ever. So my question to you said you played, primarily more 1, and then you got kind of lost in 2. What made you like kind of like edge your way out of it? Was it just, I don't want to say too much because there's not really such thing as too much, but maybe you just were attracted to something else, or?
I was a Street Fighter guy.
Okay, well there you go. That was the thing too. It's like, it's Pepsi versus Coke, Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. It's just that's how it was.
Like, I wasn't one of those people that was like, oh, Mortal Kombat, fucking no.
Yeah. No.
I just like Street Fighter more. I was better at Street Fighter, but also I was never a huge fighting games person. Like, I liked them, and I liked my Street Fighter, and I liked the original Mortal Kombat. But that just wasn't my type of game. I've always kind of liked Mortal Kombat kind of from afar. I don't play them, but I like seeing what new Mortal Kombat's kind of bringing. You talk about the the story in the Mortal Kombats.
Mm-hmm.
There is a surprisingly deep lore in those games. Like, the story, like, people will buy Mortal Kombat games for the story.
Yeah.
And that is insane that a fighting game is being purchased because they like the story. It's a great thing. And it's incredible that they are still making, not only are they still making Mortal Kombats, they're still making really good Mortal Kombats.
Yeah.
And can you imagine what the next Mortal Kombat game will look like with a new generation of graphics and consoles?
Oh gosh, it's ridiculous.
It's already insane. So,
like,
yeah, it's gonna be really something. Those fatalities, the new fatalities, I'm sure are gonna be just rancid. Yeah,
the new, I deem the new generation of Mortal Kombat, because for a while they kind of went to this, they were hit by games like Tekken and Soul Calibur, Virtua Fighter, where the 3-dimensional arena had kind of opened up. So Mortal Kombat kind of chased that down a little bit, and I like how it's kind of gone to its side-scrolling roots. Street Fighter came back with a flurry. Killer Instinct to a bit with its seasonal system. But when Mortal Kombat came back, I was like, I'm kind of in this weird place that, like, so I played Mortal Kombat 2 primarily on the SNES, and that's where I got good. I got good on the control pad. playing that thing in an arcade is a whole different animal altogether. With the joystick and like the buttons and stuff, I don't know what it is. It's just there's a different feel to it, obviously, and there's different controls. There's different like methodologies and way in which the system works. And so I always felt like an outsider when like watching these guys like just completely go to town on each other at the arcades. Even though I tried to challenge them with my own shit, like I could hold my own a little bit, but boy, it was a whole nother level altogether. It's like you said, the story and the lore goes so deep, and it's gotten so good that this itch is starting to develop, kind of like on my forearm, of me wanting to really, really jump back into this game. Like Street Fighter kind of did that, but at the same time, I was like, I'm not as big of a Street Fighter fan. Like, like I have the utmost respect for it. And obviously in the fighting world, it is probably second to none. But my heart has always been with Mortal Kombat. Just remember all the times I had played at home with my friends, with my school buddies, with my brother, and I really, really want to get into playing that to the point where I was like, oh, it's on PlayStation Now. And so I kind of did the training for a little bit. And I don't know, again, there's some latency issue in regards to like trying to get the combo system. Again, PlayStation Now is not the most perfect system in regards to, especially when the combos rely on such quick twitch button pressing, and they have to be very, very precise, and the timing has to be like, 1-to-1. So you can't really have like any type of, 0.25 second latency or whatever. That'll really, really hinder your gameplay, but it looks so good, and the story is so awesome, and I want to experience that new story that has exploded, especially bringing in all these new random characters. Like freaking Terminator is in the new Mortal Kombat, along with Rambo and like the Joker, and it's just, you're like, what?
Yeah,
but they make really sense of it, I'm like, sure, like just watching all the fatality, and that's the thing too, is that maybe that's what I do like about the Mortal Kombat series versus like Street Fighter, is that they've got they were the ones that originated like the fatality system, and just like that finality, you're like, okay, I've killed you, but now I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. Like,
it's like, you're done, but now let me rub it in your face. And Mean Green, he mentions Babality. Maybe that's why I gravitate toward 2 a lot more than the others, is that's where these crazy finishing moves kind of gravitated toward, like originated, was, you had your friendships, you had the Babalities. You're like, you had more than just one finish him move. You had extra, like you had stage fatalities. Depending on what stage you were, you could either knock him into the pit or again knock him into a pool of acid. That game's great. I love like that game. Like that's my number one amongst the others. Even though the others may be better, that's the one that is near and dear to my heart. So
yeah. It's a cool series.
Yeah,
it's a cool series. Why are we actually here, Charlie?
Well, again, like you said, it's a cool series, and it's so cool of a series that we have to talk about the movie also, man.
Yeah, we do have to talk. We do have to talk about the movie.
Oh,
Charlie,
my God.
Charlie, how do you want to do this? There's a lot here. Do we just want to start with kind of our impressions of the movie, basically just our general thoughts on it? Do we just want to start there?
Yes, let's open up Pandora's box, because that's the only way that we are going to just let there's a lot. Like, there's so much I can't even put into a sentence.
Yeah,
Mean Green, we'll get to that part. I promise you that.
But
you're gonna get there. This movie came out in 1995.
Yes.
Directed by Paul Anderson, by the way.
You're right.
So this movie is obviously centered around mainly Liu Kang. So again, this movie is 25 years old, and so the fact that I could even remember some of this stuff was crazy. I did forget that this all started with Liu Kang's brother getting murdered by Shao Kahn in a duel. By the way, Shang Tsung. By the way, there are going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen this movie, you're just sorry. You've had 25 years to see it.
Yeah, we're going to spoil the shit out of this movie.
MK is iconic as sin. Yeah, man, dude, and that dragon. Like, first of all, I just want to talk about how the design of that dragon just on the poster is so good. So good. Anyway. So yeah, Liu Kang's in America. You find that out a lot. There's a lot of references to America and the corruption of being in America, TV, etc. And he's like, oh, I got to go back, da-da-da-da-da. Which, I forget, who does it segue to Johnny Cage or does it segue to Sonya? I'm trying to remember now.
It goes to Johnny Cage next.
Okay.
He's filming the movie.
Well, we don't know that. He's in the middle of this fight in this really, really big hangar. Like, all of a sudden, these guys are just coming at him, and he is totally tearing them apart. And this one guy, I'm sorry, I had to laugh when I laugh every time I've seen this part. This one guy, he, like, kicks him in the face and then kicks him again, and the dude just looks at him dumbfounded. He's like, and his line, this is Johnny Cage's line, like, this is where you fall down.
This is where you fall
and the
down.
Guy like looks at him for half another second and then just falls back.
Yeah. Well, and he oversells it. He oversells the fall. He's like, and he falls over. Oh my gosh.
And yeah, you find out he's on a set, and he's like, and then his agent's like, hey, there's a tournament. You want to not showcase that you're not just like a whatever. A big screen
just an
martial artist, that you're a real, the real deal. You should go to this. Which I'm still to this day wondering, like, if that guy was like Shang Tsung, because Shang Tsung, can morph into other people.
Oh no, in the scene he morphs back into Shang Tsung.
Yeah, I must have missed that part again. Like, I was working at the time, and I've seen this 3 times in the last 3 weeks. I don't know how I missed that all 3 times. But and then we segue over to the club where Sonya's busting on in and she's looking for Kano.
And Jax is there too.
Jax is there. So this is obviously this is after Mortal Kombat 2 had come out. And so Jax is there, obviously there's all these references, and as a kid, you're like, oh, it's Sonya Blade, and man, Bridget Wilson, now Bridget Wilson Sampras, woof, man, she was...
Yeah, Bridget Wilson Sampras.
She was a lovely dish.
Married to Pete Sampras.
Yeah.
Was in Billy Madison that same year that Mortal Kombat came out. Yeah, she played Sonya Blade.
Yep, she's beautiful. She's fun. She got married to Pete Sampras, became a mom, and that was the end of her acting career.
I mean,
it's fine.
Pete Sampras with all the money.
So yeah, she busts in there. Obviously, Kano now is talking to Shang Tsung. Apparently, there's some weird like overlying plot to get her to join the tournament, and so he is using Kano to try to attract her. To
Which
the destination.
They never explain why.
They never explain why. Like, I don't know if he just happens to be like enamored by her or whatever. Well, sure. I think it kind of does like later on, but we'll go into that. So they're supposed to get on this boat, this like random boat that takes them away or whatever. Before that, though, we see Liu Kang has gone back home, like to the east. And he's back with the Shaolin monks, and they're all like, "Why did you come back? Da 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 da." Like, you abandoned us, blah 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 blah. And you're like, "Yeah, I'm back, and I'm gonna avenge my brother's death. I'm gonna find my brother's killer. He's like, that's not the reason why you want to do this. Yada yada yada. And he's like, oh yeah, that's right. This is for the the liberation of the world. Like we're here to save the world, right? And like he really doesn't believe that shit. I mean, I get it. He's a young adult, and you just like, that's crazy talk. Whatever, tournament, yada yada yada. He mentions that several times. Enter Christopher Lambert. Which, have you seen any of the Highlander movies?
I don't remember them. I know I've seen the first one.
Those movies were so awesome, and to see him fight in those movies was great. He was an immortal in those movies, and the way to continue being immortal is to challenge another immortal to basically a battle to the death. And like the famous line, there can be only one. But he comes in, and boy, like, okay, so we have a lot of grievances that we're going to exclaim throughout this review. But I do want to say this. I'm really, really bummed by the fact that they brought in Christopher Lambert, a martial artist, by the way, and a sci-fi actor in his own, great sci-fi actor in his own right. And he's just like an old man guide. He's Raiden. Yeah. If you haven't watched it, he's Raiden. He's portrayed as an old beggar man. Liu Kang even calls him an old beggar, and I don't know, you can go a little bit on this, but I gotta get a little drink of water. But the guy is like, "Oh, you're an old beggar," whatever. It's like, here, come at me. And so Liu Kang charges him, and all he does is kind of step aside and hip throws him to the floor, and then he shows this lightning in his eyes, and I'm like, yep, okay.
And that's the entire portion of his action scenes.
Yeah,
he doesn't do anything else that's action related.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Raiden basically tells Liu Kang, hey, you need to go do this tournament, and it's not about getting revenge for your brother's death, but you've got to go do this because you've got to go and win this tournament. And of course, Liu Kang is basically like, oh, I'm going because I gotta go avenge my brother. And so then he goes to go get on the boat after that.
Yep, they're all on the boat. They meet up with Raiden, and Raiden's like, one of you three will be the one to basically decide the fate of the world, or whether the fate of billions. Oh yeah, that's the thing. He has this kind of quirky, godlike humor about him. And he's always telling him the seriousness of Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. And he's like, the fate of billions is upon you. And he starts laughing. He's like, oh, sorry. He's like, come on now, man.
The weird comedy they would add in.
It's so Christopher Lambert. And
sure,
this may be the only other action sequence but it's all CG. Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, and Sonya are just kind of wandering through the boat, and they run underground, and all of a sudden you enter in Sub-Zero and Scorpion. And it looks like they're about to rumble. Sub-Zero's he freezes Sonya's gun to show, hey, I got ice power. And then Sub-Zero's about to throw down with his spear, which I never knew that the spear was sentient until this movie.
Neither did I.
That was kind of, CG for the time that it was pretty cool to see something come out of his hand.
Yeah.
But then it started hissing and going. I'm like, wait a minute, that thing's alive? Okay, that's a brand new thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
Demons.
We'll get to the CG in a little bit.
So the big showcase by Raiden in the entire movie, all of a sudden this lightning bolt just bursts into the room, incapacitates the two ninjas, and they're like, enough, that's his big moment in the movie. He's like, enough. And, you know, like, obviously, you know, engaging in Mortal Kombat outside of the boundaries of whatever is forbidden by whatever higher force or whatever. And Shang Tsung's like, it's okay. I'm just checking it out.
Fun, man.
I'm just, we're just having fun here, no?
Yeah.
So they get to the island, you know, and, you know, apparently there are more fighters in this thing than, you know, I've ever seen. Like, there's so many NPCs. in this Mortal Kombat series.
Yeah.
So they have correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. So they have the banquet. Mm-hmm. The big thing is the banquet scene. And so they're all eating there or whatever, and then, you know, obviously Shang Tsung is like at the head table or whatever, and they're like, okay, let's show him what we can do, basically, da-da-da-da-da. You know, he claps his hands, and all these other NPC, like, hooligans / you know, masked ninjas come in, you know, tear the place asunder to, I guess, you know, spread the floor for combat. Sub-Zero is the person who's being showcased here, and you have this one guy. He is pretty ripped. You know, you're like, dang, I wouldn't mess with any of these guys. Don't get me wrong, but this guy, he's showing his skills. He's kicking in the air. You know, he's doing this back pop and just like flexing all 12 of his packs.
Yeah.
And then he goes in for a kick, and obviously, like, Sub-Zero, he is charging up his ice attack, which takes a while.
It takes
Again, it's the showcase of what he can do in the CG, and I'm just like, dang, you know. And obviously freezes him. His head rolls away because he's completely destroyed. Like by the impact after, you know, the frozen body collides with, you know, the table and stuff. But, you know, this movie is not just about the characters; it's also about the sayings from the game.
And sure is.
Shang Tsung stands up and just says the key line, "Flawless victory."
Oh yeah.
And technically it was flawless.
Technically it was, and it seemed like Shang Tsung was the one that had all of the shoehorning in of the finish him, and all that, and. Like, I get it, like, you know, it's part of the thing, but there were a couple times where it was like, okay, we get it. That's the line from the game. We get it. So the reason why the tournament they are in is important is because, basically what Shang Tsung is doing is, when they win 10 tournaments in a row, they basically get the ability to take over the world that they are trying to take over. In this case, it's now the Earth.
The realm is open to the Emperor, and the Emperor can now invade.
Exactly, and they've won 9 in a row at this point, and so this is number 10. And so the tournament gets going. And so we see Liu Kang fight. It was basically just a random person.
And that guy, the stick fight.
Stick fight,
which was kind of awesome.
Oh no, it was a good fight, and you know he ends up winning.
He can growl.
And then next up is was it the Johnny Cage fight next, or was it the Sonya fight next?
It was the Sony fight next, but don't forget what happened to the guy when he lost.
Oh, that's right. So when a fighter loses, Shang Tsung basically gets his soul.
Yep.
And so he goes and he takes his soul, and that increases his powers.
Yep. And
so he takes his soul. So then next up is Sonya, and she is going to fight Kano. Which, for whatever reason, they've got, probably in the video game lore, they have some rivalry. But basically, Shang Tsung wanted Kano to fight Sonya, not to kill her, but to basically embarrass her for some reason. They really didn't explain why. Well, Sonya just goes and whips his monkey ass and kills him.
She did the moves too. She did the somersault.
She did
neck split or whatever.
Yeah, and well, and so Kano, she's got Kano's head locked in with her legs, and Kano is basically begging for his life, and he's like, "Come on, Sonya, give me a break," and she goes, "Okay," and then snaps his neck, and so she ends up winning that fight, obviously. And then we get the Johnny Cage versus Scorpion fight.
Which, by the way,
Which
that was kind of like in the middle of a forest. Like,
which was weird. Yeah, it was like all of a sudden he's just
Johnny Cage was going for a constitutional, and then all of a sudden he stares down the barrel of these, neatly planted trees, and Scorpion just staring at him.
Yeah, and so Scorpion does the spear, which again, yeah, the spear is apparently sentient. And I found it extremely weird that this is not necessarily a critique of the movie in general, but I found it weird that they never showed a scene with Scorpion where the spear connects ever.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's it. Yeah, I don't know if that's a special effects thing, or they just never could get it to look right or whatever, but it never does.
Probably.
That was a good fight. The Scorpion Johnny Cage fight.
He coined his key phrase though. Get over here.
Yeah, and then later on he does the get down here, which was not that they should have just left that one on the. They should have just left that one, but
he did his teleport, which
he did his teleport.
I didn't realize that Johnny Cage could jump into the teleporting.
Right, and then he takes the hood off and does the flame stuff. Yep. I thought after he finishes off Scorpion and the signed dude,
they had the fatality.
So good. That was so good. Yeah. It
actually, that's a friendship. That's what. So
they go through these early fights, and so then they get to kind of the later stuff. Charlie, if you want to pick it up from there.
Yeah. So there was one fight after. So there were two fights. So apparently there was another fight on the beach. Liu Kang likes to fight on the beach, apparently, he was fighting a combatant from Outworld, and her name was Katana.
Yes.
The queen, she's the princess. And so she's very, she looks nothing like her character on the video game. Just
not at all.
Just a female ninja, whatever. And they're just kind of it looked like they were just kind of sparring, whatever. And, she pins him down and she's like, she basically starts to give him advice, basically, just like saying, if you don't try with all your might, basically, you're never going to win a tournament like this. And, just kind of doing it nonchalantly in front of Shang Tsung, she could do whatever, to be honest. Being the princess of Outworld, it's what are you going to do? You know who my, quote unquote father is or whatever. But, and it's weird because, that fight never resolved.
No, it didn't.
They were fighting each other, and all of a sudden, Shang Tsung's like, "That's enough. You go your separate ways." He gets mad, and the scene ends. Well, then Liu Kang is then beckoned back, indoors into this, this, I guess, weird ass looking arena kind of base setting. This monk kind of just beckons him in there, And it was weird because, in the foreground prior to that, Raiden is in there, and he just kind of disappears.
Yeah, he carries in 2 buckets of water, and then just leaves.
And he's just okay. And then
peacing out.
Again, I don't know how combat is structured. I guess, when it comes to the 2 mass ninjas, but they can just start it whenever they want, which is fine. Sub-Zero comes down the staircase in grandiose fashion with the fog coming in to indicate it's cold and stuff. And they just go at it, which is great. I honestly thought this was like the best fight out of all of them.
I thought it was, I thought it was of the regular fights. Yes, I thought it was the best.
Like
one.
Johnny Cage and Scorpion was really, really good.
It was good.
And it like once it really, really got going, but this one was like the best like all around fight from beginning to end. You saw, front flips, you saw really, really interesting blocks, you saw parrying, you saw people getting thrown to the floor, et cetera, et cetera.
I also think it looked the best out of all the fights.
Oh, yeah. And let me say this before we go forward. The soundtrack for this movie is so badass. Like,
it's good.
I really, really like it. Like, you have Type O Negative, you have Filter, you have, God, I can't think of like all the, I think Cascade might be in it, or DJ Kyoki's in this. There's so many. What's up?
The Mortal Kombat theme song, like is the worst. Kombat. It's the worst song on the soundtrack. That's how good the soundtrack is.
Yeah,
soundtrack. Is.
Like if there has to be a last place, yes. Like the title
I'm not
screen.
saying that the Mortal Kombat song is bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that out of all of the tracks, out of all the tracks that they play throughout the movie, it's the worst of them.
Sure.
It's a good soundtrack. It's cool.
The fact that they incorporate the character selection drops from Mortal Kombat 1. They go through the entire roster from Kano to to Sonya.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go through that spell. I guess Sub-Zero thinks he's about to be beaten, so he's about to bust out with his ultimate attack, which is this weird... Again, the creators of this movie may have, thought outside the box, which is fine, So Sub-Zero just kind of gets in the middle. He does this weird thing where he just like looks like an H for like half a second. I'm like, what is that? And then he starts to like concentrate this ever-growing pulsating orb that gets larger and larger and larger. And so Liu Kang obviously like can't penetrate this thing, and even like hits him on the forearm, and he's like, and he looks down, and it's freezing one of the buckets of water that kind of spilt over during the fight. Well, then I don't know why, like watching it now versus watching it before. Watching it now was like, okay, come on, dude, you're smarter than this. You don't have to have her arrive out of nowhere to inspire you to remember a specific line that she told you during a fight earlier.
Like not even a couple hours
sure.
ago.
And I get that, like, this is to tell the audience. This is like more of a literary tool.
Yeah.
But she's kind of standing there, like, just staring, and you can hear, like, the voiceover.
Use the essence of life.
Yeah, it's like, well, why? It's like, oh, water, duh.
Yeah.
So he cranks.
Yeah.
He cranks. He gets the bucket and like in really grandiose, badass fashion, like twirls it around several times before chunking it in the orb.
Too many times.
Oh yeah.
It was arguably too many times.
Like
can I just say?
Sure.
Liu Kang in this movie is such a doof. He's such. Like I get it. It goes back to, that's how you tell stories. That's how you remind people of portions of stories. But all it does is make Liu Kang seem like, wait a minute, water, the essence of life, and it just comes off in a lot of these scenes as kind of a big doof.
Yeah, like his story arc, it's
hilarious.
definitely like, again, like I was saying before, he's very like Western. His mind's been like tainted with watching television, and he's lost his way. And so like I guess in making him kind of a doof at the beginning gives him this like character arc. So like as he progresses through every fight and he's starting to learn, like like we'll get to the part where he's really coming into his own later. But in the middle of all this, all these fights, we come to discover that who the champion of this entire tournament is. His name is Goro, and he is from the race of Outworld. this huge thing with 4 arms and, you know, a tremendous appetite. Practical effects, I'll say this, like, you know, obviously it's 1995. I wouldn't have approached this from a CG perspective because that probably would have cost a lot more money. I mean, they did okay with Goro's practical effects, I would think. I mean, obviously it's kind of, if you look at it with today's standards, it's definitely something you would see on like the Sci-Fi Channel.
I'll say this: when he's not moving, he looks fine.
Yes.
When he's moving, it's terrible.
Yes. There's a lot of wow, he's yelling up in the air and both of his arms are raising all at the same time, and you know, it's, you can tell that, you know, practical effects were definitely, you know,
it's just when they start to really get him moving, it's like, ooh, this just doesn't.
But yeah, going back to it, Goro, there's this guy that they came onto the boat with. Like, even Johnny Cage interacted with him earlier. Was like, hey, dude, like, you know, you're one of these badass fighters. Like, what are you doing here? Like, oh, I'm here for the tournament. Da 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 da. So he ends up, I guess, somehow climbing the ranks to fight Goro. Well, before this, Goro, like, apparently is done with Shang Tsung is done with all these Earthlings, like, winning. And so he unleashes Goro, basically, to this montage of, like, him just tearing through guys he
threw so many people onto rocks.
He did.
So many people.
Those fanboys in the audience, those ninja fanboys, they were just going, yeah. I couldn't help but laugh at them. But so yeah, this guy that they had met on the bus, this random NPC or whatever, that's supposed to be really, really badass martial artist, he has to face Goro and Johnny Cage and Sonya and was Liu Kang there? He was there.
They were all 3 there.
Okay. God, I just remember Johnny Cage being there more because he's like, you know, in and out, stick and move. You know, he's like kind of coaching him from the side.
Right.
You know, and obviously this Goro is twice the size of this martial artist and makes pretty quick work of him. And, you know, Oscar-winning moment, Johnny Cage like screams in agony when his friend is falling to his death. And I'll say this. Of all 3 of those guys, I think the actor like who portrayed Johnny Cage, you know, I think he came to actually like try to really act.
He was fine.
You know, like he did his best to be a Hollywood starlet. You know, like he was.
Sure.
You know, even in that moment where he's like, you know, like we need to take this fight to them or whatever, and he was basically telling off Raiden. He was just like, you know, enough is enough. I'm gonna challenge Goro and, you know, whatever. Even though Raiden's like, you're not ready, and then weirdness, he's like, wow, one of them finally gets it, you know, just like, come on, Raiden, dude, like you're supposed to be helping him out, not being like this sideline, you know, indifferent entity or whatever.
Right.
Coming up after Sharknado, Mortal Kombat, no joke. Well, then, so we get to the Johnny Cage, Goro fight. Oh my gosh! Go ahead, man. You speak to it.
It is 100% the worst fight in the movie. It is very obvious that scene, the way that they shot that scene, the way that they played it out was because they couldn't do a badass fight with Goro.
Sure.
Because it just wouldn't. I mean, you just can't. He basically he starts with Johnny Cage punching him in the balls.
That's a signature move, though.
And I'm not saying it
from
isn't.
The video game.
Just,
I was like, he had the splits, and then he knocked him right in the balls.
Yeah, and then ran away like a girl.
Yeah, he did.
and then so they go out to the ledge on the mountain, and Johnny Cage punches him like 3 times. And then of course they have their Die Hard moment, which by the way, Die Hard did it a million times better.
Yep.
And the
callback.
and then we get the callback where Johnny Cage says, this is where you fall, and then
this is where you fall down.
This is where you fall down, and he falls down,
and then he falls into nothingness.
Yeah, it's easily the worst fight in the movie. It's the worst looking fight in the movie. Like it's just and again that's just how a lot of that 90s stuff goes.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat that scene up too much. But it it was a very for how much they built up Goro. What a kick to the pants ending.
Literally.
For him. Yeah, just a very. Just not the royal welcome you want to give to someone that's supposed to be the badass of the movie.
Well, then we hear a scream, and then Sonya's obviously abducted by Shang Tsung, because apparently he before the fight, Johnny Cage made the challenge to Goro, and Shang Tsung was like, okay, but like, you know, if you win, the final fight happens. Is basically decreed by Shang Tsung wherever and whenever he pleases, with whomever, whomever. And he takes, and so we find out basically through this portion of the movie that this is why he chose Sonya. Like, Sonya, yes, was one of the three to decide the fate of the human race, but she was the weakest. And he kidnaps her, takes her to Outworld, you know, because it was allowed, and basically Raiden can't go there. So Katana then's like, I can go there, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And so those three go together. So, no, it was just Johnny Cage and Liu Kang, right?
Yeah,
yeah, that's Katana. Right. Yeah. So they're traveling. And again, some of Johnny Cage's lines are pretty funny. You know, he's like, well, everywhere I go, like, I want someone like just gonna kick my ass. It's like being back in like high school again or whatever. And all of a sudden, like, they stop, and he's like, "What are you doing, dude?" And like, kind of out like the corner of his eye, like Liu Kang notices something. He's just kind of backing up against the wall, like nonchalantly. Well, he reaches around, and there's this reptile thing. Well, we didn't even go into the reptile, like the CG reptile guy from earlier, by the way. We completely missed him. He's been following around Katana, you know, to kind of keep an eye on her by orders from Shang Tsung.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets thrown down into this, like, statue. And the statue kind of starts to absorb him. And then the reptile turns into the reptile character. The masked green secret character, which that was like, even when they, like, again, little kid in me, when the sound drop goes reptile, I'm like, yes, we have reptile in this game.
You know,
by the way, reptile was my favorite character in Mortal Kombat 2.
To me, this fight rivals the Sub-Zero fight for me. It's a good fight.
Yeah, and it totally is. But like,
it's great.
It's a very good fight in that Reptile gets the best of Liu Kang at the very beginning, obviously, because he's just like been, you know, kind of blindsided. But then you see kind of Liu Kang turn the tide around, and he owns Reptile at the back half of that fight.
Yeah.
Even to the point where Reptile's like, I'm fucking out of here. You know, he's trying to get away, but he really can't until he, and you know, in the end, he gets kicked through a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And, you know, and he explodes or whatever, turns back into the statue, and the Reptile is trying to get out, you know, and get back up.
Yeah.
And of course, Liu Kang's like, "Oh no, you don't." And you hear this, oh man.
And Reptile, when he's in reptile form, is the worst CG I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
Like I mean, you know, Mortal Kombat 2, bro. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Let's not talk about worst yet, but we won't go there. By the way, we're just talking Mortal Kombat the movie.
We're not going Annihilation. I can't do it. But yeah, it's so bad. But that fight's great. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't understand all the bugs, and I don't know if they were just trying to be gross and
Yeah.
everything, but
Oh yeah.
whatever. But anyway, so they fight. He fights Reptile, kills Reptile,
Mm-hmm.
and one thing that they did mention about Sonya is that all Sonya has to do is not accept the
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because the way that they kind of set that up, it almost seemed like they had to get there as fast as possible so they could tell her not to accept it.
Yeah.
Like they almost seem but then it fast forwards to where she's all chained up and she's like, I'm not gonna fight you, and it's like, oh well, she fucking already knew. And
yeah, she saw through him really easily, and he's just
boy,
like, well,
sure
poor friends.
they sure did skip a lot of parts of how did Johnny Cage and Liu Kang get there, and all of a sudden they've got the robes so they can blend in. They really needed to move that movie along to make sure they get into their hour 40, didn't they?
But yeah, because she's like, my friends are gonna save me, and then they pan over.
Already here.
We're already here.
Oh God, yeah. So yeah, and
the final fight is about to commence, and Shang Tsung is about to challenge Johnny Cage because technically he is the new champion of Mortal Kombat because he's beaten the previous champion.
Yeah, he beat
but
Goro.
Liu Kang's like, fuck you. This is my fight, you know.
And he accepts.
And we get the
oh yeah, yes. we get it. And they throw it down.
Yeah, they go to town. I mean, dude, Shang Tsung, like, you know, obviously he's the main baddie for a reason. He takes it to Liu Kang hardcore. Prior to this fight, you know, like Kitana's talking about the quote unquote trials that he's going to have to accomplish. He had to fight. He has to face his enemy, face himself, and then face his fears or whatever like that.
What was face himself? Like they didn't even do anything for that. Like he was just like, now you have to face yourself, and then he like walks up the stairs, and then it's like face your worst fear. It's like, wait, where did the face yourself come in? Like I
stair
just
climbing?
Miss something? I guess so. Yeah. Also,
I had totally forgotten about the guys like popping out of the ground. Like,
yeah.
I guess the souls or whatever they had taken, he gotten like the previous combatants that had lost in the prior tournaments.
Right.
And
he makes quick work of them.
I know, and they were all like, you know, like major samurais and some huge brutes, and like the dude with like the freaking S swords. I was like, holy crap, like, go to town, bro. But Liu Kang, it's kind of funny because like a couple of them, you're just like, okay, he just kicked him in the shoulder, but he's down. But I get it, you know, it's 9-on-1. What are you gonna do?
Also, so later on, they're up on the top of the stairs, and they're about to start fighting. And then Shang Tsung turns into his brother.
Yep. That's face your worst fear. I think.
Face your worst fear. One thing I did not like about that, and maybe this is just me being too much of a stickler, Liu Kang saw him turn into his brother. But for like the first 30 seconds, he was like, you're my brother. It's like, dude, you watched him turn into him. You know it's not him.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of one of those moments where it kind of takes you a little bit out of it, because it's like, he's like, it's not like all of a sudden the brother came out from like behind something.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit. But no, like he watches him turn in shapeshift into the brother. And then, then he's finally like, wait a minute, you're not my brother.
Yeah.
I
didn't kill my brother. Shang Tsung killed my brother. And then he's like, you will die. And then obviously they go into like this huge fight.
The finale of the fight,
Yeah, like, well, I think it was during that moment where he's talking to his brother, quote unquote brother, and the spikes start to come out of the floor.
Spikes come out. Yeah.
You know, the pit. And they have this final moment where like they're in this huge fight, and it's the big ending or whatever. And obviously, like, you could tell that Shang Tsung was kind of like in this weird, like, okay, like, this is it or whatever, but he's trying to go for broke, but Liu Kang's not having any of it anymore. And so Liu Kang literally like comes up with this like final like primordial roar and launches a fireball at him, basically. Launching Shang Tsung into the air, suspended and down into the pit, where he threw a spike, which kills him, ages him immensely because he's dead, and then all the souls are free again.
Yes.
Liu Kang sees his brother. Everything is good. You know,
they
like
say bye to each other. We'll see each other again.
We will see each other again one day. Yeah.
Yeah, one day. Yes.
He stands there, you know, triumphant, you know, with the big light behind him.
Yes.
They're walking. They're leaving. Apparently, Liu Kang and Katana are now a couple, and as well as Johnny Cage and Sonya.
Yeah. Which at no point did any of them show much of any affection towards each other, but all of a sudden they're fucking. So
like Johnny Cage did mention something to Sonya earlier, but it was literally like, you know, he's always going to be the white knight like kind of guy.
Sure.
And so, you know, they show up, and of course Christopher Lambert, like again, Christopher Lambert is the lead like name on this movie. He is barely in this movie, which kind of makes me upset.
Barely in it, and he doesn't really do
this is where you fall
anything in this movie.
Yeah, and so he shows up.
You know what he literally does? So we talked about it earlier. He does one flip.
Yeah.
He puts down a bucket of water.
Yeah. He does he bursts into the room like full of electricity, so I guess there's that. He hits a guy in the shoulder when they're all fighting. And he's like, oh, sorry.
And he made a couple of jokes, and then at the end, they're back where the monks, and they're sitting there, they're chatting and everything. It's like everything's great.
It's like, what took you guys so long?
It's not great because here comes Shao Kahn busting out of that building, out
of the sky, yeah.
And then, you know, Raiden's eyes twinkle with electricity. He's like, I don't think so. And then they all do their move. And then you get fucking credits. And then you get to hear the Mortal Kombat song again.
I'm trying to remember of all the movies that I watched, like, back then. This may have been, like, one of the first movies to really, like, give a teaser into the next movie.
Boy,
you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of like other movies that came out around that time, like you think about the original Terminator.
Yeah.
And like in the original Terminator, at the very end, you have the scene where what's her name is talking about we don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And like what she says kind of is like, well, there's obviously going to be another Terminator.
Sure.
But the blatancy of the yo motherfucker, we're probably gonna make another one of these movies at the end of that is really funny.
I might be excluding like horror movies because I know slasher movies probably did a lot of that, like, we're gonna be back for another Jason 5, but like when it comes to like action movies or anything of that ilk or whatever, usually at the end of each movie, even though there is a subsequent sequel after the fact or sequels, there's a finality at the very end of the movie. One was probably one of the first ones to be like, oh, it's open-ended. We have Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Right. Well, and I think, if you look at the original Star Wars, like the way that Star Wars A New Hope ends.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There's no sequel. Like they didn't know. Up until maybe even like the year 2000, most movies, no matter the genre, they generally didn't do that. The cliffhanger.
Empire's the only one that I can think of that actually was a cliffhanger.
Well, sure, and at that point,
at that point we knew that there was going to be a third one.
Okay,
So that is Mortal Kombat,
right.
by the way.
So we haven't talked about just in general what our thoughts of the movie, like basically actually reviewing it. Okay, so I'm gonna go first. I watched it today, and it's the first time that I've watched that movie in 20 years,
Mhm.
probably. I bet you it's been at least 20 years. I started that movie with an open mind and a willing heart. I was gonna have a clean slate. I was not gonna go in and be like, "Oh man, this is gonna be bad," or whatever. Like I wanted to go in clean, and I have to tell you, I fucking loved it.
Yes.
I love. Look,
Yes.
it's not a great movie. It
No.
has pacing issues, it has CG issues, but it is, and especially with video game movies, like the story makes sense. It has a progression that it doesn't always hit, but it has a progression from start to finish. The fight scenes are really good, aside from the Goro Johnny Cage fight.
Yeah.
Like it's like those scenes are really well done. The set design is really damn good in that
Mhm.
movie. Costume design is really good. Those characters look like those characters. It's really nice.
Yeah.
You know, some of this it's cheesy in certain places to the point where sometimes it's a little too cheesy. Um but you know, whatever. That's fine. But yeah, like it's an enjoyable flick, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like I could not I thought when you talked about wanting to do this, I was like, I'm gonna go in with an open mind, but there's no way this movie holds up in the least. There's no way, and there are parts of it that don't. This the special effects in the movie are are average at best and extremely poor even for the time at worst. I think the reptile stuff is really bad even for 1995. The Goro stuff is bad, but it's, you know, that's what you that you know that I didn't think that that was terrible. You know, and some of the other stuff was, you know, kind of hit and miss. Um like the Shao Kahn stuff at the very end. It's like, man, this holographic bullshit is so bad. I love it. It's so good. No, dude, that movie is it's movies based on a video game. It's still the best movie based on a video game. I think it's still the best one.
I can't think of all the movies up, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely up there for me. The fact that it's Mortal Kombat 1 gives it bonus points. I agree with you wholeheartedly. There are parts where you could tell its age.
Uh,
The CG with Reptile is bananas.
Oh, yeah. The scene where they're about to get on the boat and Johnny Cage thinks Liu Kang is a dock worker. He takes the money and then throws his luggage in there into the ocean.
Yep.
Was awesome.
Yep.
Was so good.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. And it's, you know, uh it's got what's her name, Bridget Wilson in it, who had just finished Billy Madison right before that.
Yeah. No, she's a cutie.
Oh yeah, that tank top, bro.
She kicked ass too.
Yeah, and her husband could beat us in tennis.
Oh my gosh, not even funny.
Yep. It's great. It's a great movie. It is. It's yeah. It's not going to win an Oscar, but it still holds up as an enjoyable movie.
I'm trying to decide how. I'm trying to think about how long it's been since I've seen this movie prior to doing this little stint or whatever. It's been over a decade, but the fact that I still enjoyed it through and through. Josh Dizzle, yes. Not just the Reptile music, all the music in it. You know, you had the heavy metal stuff from the Scorpion fight. You had
the music's fantastic.
You know, the very beginnings of dubstep coming through there. It had everything you want, especially when you if like myself enjoyed playing Mortal Kombat and the lore that came with it.
Yeah.
You're just like, wow, they put this sucker like together, and like they did it. We're not going to discuss what came afterwards, but
one of the worst movies of all time.
Yeah, my morbid curiosity wants me to I
can't
peel back the wrapper just to see.
I can't.
But
Liu Kang's the only one from the original that's in that second one, right?
Johnny Cage is in it for a few seconds, and there's a reason why. Josh Shizzle, yeah, we had the VHS that had the behind the scenes tape, and so we got to see all the cool, speaking to the Sub-Zero Liu Kang fight. We actually got to see how a lot of those stunts were put together. Again, it was just the imagination of how the camera angles worked that hid all the quote unquote springboards or whatever and what they fell on top of, obviously. And trick photography can do that, but all of their stuff, the fighting choreography that went with it, even the fighting choreography that came with the first combatant that Liu Kang fought, the bamboo stick fight, that was really, really cool. All of the the fights, even heck, the brawling fight between Kano and Sonya, throw a little water and put some mud on that, but Kano can go away. By the way, Kano, Australian. That's not the first thing I would have thought of ever.
No.
When that thing started.
to be honest, it's easily the worst character in the movie, and the most just why they almost shouldn't even have him in that movie for the way they used him. None of his stuff made sense. Yeah, the voice was no, this is not at all what I fully expected him to be like. That's not a knife, at some point when he pulled the knife out.
He pulled the knife out, though.
He sure does, and he licks it because of course he did. I just I get why he's in the movie because
sure,
it's fuck Kano, but they don't out of all the characters in that movie, that's the biggest misuse of that.
That's true.
It
is the first name of the song.
Him
and Raiden. I love Christopher Lambert, and I can actually in you just talking just now, I was trying to think back to a conversation I had with my cousin, and he was saying he had told me, if I remember right, that the reason he felt that Raiden wasn't a fighter in this is because he's a god. He could literally cook everybody just like that and win the tournament, but he wasn't allowed to.
You have to have someone that is going to be the voice of reason.
Sure.
And
it just sucks you got to play that character, but then you want to see him fight as well, which you kind of saw in Annihilation, but
well,
I'm gonna watch that thing, aren't I?
which Christopher Lambert is not in that movie as Raiden.
I know that. We can't. No, not right now. No.
Okay,
we're running long already.
We got to move on.
Yeah,
we
have to definitely move on.
Mortal Kombat, good movie, still holds up.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I'm so glad that we did this because it was enjoyable. I paid $3 to watch this movie, and I am okay with that.
Yep, I own this movie digitally, and I have the DVD.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
Go to Amazon Prime, go rent it, go watch it. It's awesome.
Charlie, I'm gonna play a little producer on the fly here. We should make this a monthly thing.
Oh, I've already got thoughts of the next one.
Okay, I've got some thoughts on some too. We'll talk offline.
We'll talk shop later.
Yeah, I've got some stuff that we can because there's a lot, especially from that era, that we may need to. Do. But let's move this thing along a little bit so we're not done at midnight.
We need to hit up something which is called the mailbag. And if you have any questions for us, we have plenty of questions tonight, but if you have any questions for us, hit us up in the chat or hit us up at the mcgamescast@gmail.com. Hit us up on our Discord. Hit us up on our Twitch, our Twitter, or just hit us up in the street. Again, we have to go a little bit faster than normal, so thankfully we have some Josh Quick Hits. Question number 1. Candy canes or candy corn? Easy. Candy canes.
It's candy canes, but they're both spare.
I mean, yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. Vanilla or chocolate cake?
I'm a vanilla.
Oh,
cake guy.
I am so chocolate cake. It's not even funny. Which my son, as a quick aside, my son, it's weird. You would think all kids like chocolate or whatever. He hates it. He does not.
Oh, wow.
He thinks, I don't know if it's just the color of it or whatever, because he likes white chocolate. But I don't know, like, if there's, like, in a marble cake, if there's any crumb of the chocolate that has gone into the vanilla portion, he won't have it. He is a vanilla guy, true and true. So that leaves more chocolate cake for me. Rocky Road or cookies and cream? We're talking the ice creams.
Oh, I am cookies and cream all the way.
My younger self would have said Rocky Road, but older me is definitely on the side of cookies and cream. Yes, we are right. Bucks or Chiefs this weekend of the big game?
Are we picking the winner, or are we picking who we're rooting for?
Yes.
Okay.
You can tell me both.
I'm cheering for Chiefs, I guess, and I think the Chiefs win 31-27.
Oh, wow. Both.
Tyreek Hill MVP.
Oh, calling a shot. Check that out. I am literally like rooting for no one. I think the Bucks pull out an upset just because of factors. Tom Brady wins yet another MVP because why the F not?
Sure.
Everyone's been rooting against him. Why not finish it off at home? Come on. Home. It's a home Super Bowl. Crazy.
Sure.
Does Tony Romo deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely not.
So that includes will he? That's a no.
Oh, he absolutely will not. No.
I love Tony Romo. I think he is a great broadcaster.
I
think he was an awesome quarterback for what the Cowboys were able to provide him with. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do it at crunch time near the end through not just a fault of his own, but just fault of everything. And he may go in. Okay, I'll say this. Does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame right now? No. Give him about another 30 years of broadcasting. He has a great chance to go in as like a broadcaster.
Yeah.
As a player, I just can't see it.
No, I mean, he's not even in the top 30 in any quarterback category.
I just can't see him even being in the Ring of Honor, man.
No, I don't either.
I love Romo, but
yeah, he's not even going to be. He won't even get on the ballot, I don't think. Because he has what, 2 playoff wins ever, and he's not even in the top 30 in any quarterback statistical category.
Yeah,
so yeah, I love Romo and I love that era.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve it, and there's no way.
That is Josh's quick hits. We have some questions from Sturm. You want to take those away?
Sure. Why does Llama always run away from playing car soccer with Canadians? Is he low-key racist? I've already told Sturm this, and I'm going to say it again. I'm not answering that question. If he wants to be a little titty baby about it, he can, but I'm not answering that question.
All honesty, brother, I really didn't mean to turn it to you for you to read that question. I was just like, fine. Oh, that's your segment or whatever. Like, oh crap, that has your name in it.
I don't care. It's fine. That's fine.
No, again, and this is me speaking for him, and this is what I observe. Rocket League is a place of zen for you. And there is a point though where it becomes less of a enjoyment. And if it becomes more of a task and a job, why continue playing that thing?
Well, I told you earlier in the show, I'm not playing normal threes or doubles right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not having a lot of fun with it. And I play with Sturm plenty. I play with Sturm
Yeah.
at least once a week. And
Easy
I play
buddy.
with other people. I play with
Easy
our friend
buddy.
Nico. And yeah, and I play with my brother every now and then, and it's just, you know, he's just being a little baby, and that's fine. He could be a little pansy baby small dick Canadian. That's fine. I don't care.
Wah.
Yeah, he can wah wah wah. Anyway, we're gonna move on. Metallica
Yes.
or Megadeth?
Metallica.
Metallica, 100%. Pearl Jam or the Stone Temple Pilots?
PJ.
I'll take STP. Going back to football, is Tom Brady a hack with an asterisk beside virtually all of his Super Bowl wins? No, he's not. Maybe one of them might get one, but he's still the greatest quarterback of all time and maybe the greatest football player of all time.
He's been to more Super Bowls than how many teams? All of them.
All of them. Yeah.
He's won more NFC championships, or he's won how many? Was it? What was that one? What? He's won more conference championships than I can't. Like it was like 26 teams or something like that. It's so stupid. Right. Like you can't luck your way into something like that. Like
he's been to enough Super Bowls that basically would constitute a quarter of the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. And he was great in all of those runs. Like you could say what you want about Tom Brady. Like I think he's kind of a douchebag here and there, but he's still fucking great. And you know, you get sometimes you get tired of seeing the same person over and over again, but there's a reason why he's there. And sure, you want to take the deflate gate year and say, you know, put an asterisk. Okay, that's fine. Well, he's been to the Super Bowl 10 other times. He's won the NFC Championship more times than the Cowboys have in the last 25 years. So, I mean, he's an incredible player, and he's probably the best that's ever played.
And I'll say this too, like he's the type of person that kind of owns it too. Every time they win something, I always like to go and see like what he and Gronk have put out video wise. The last one where he had was the Puff Daddy song, "We Ain't Going Nowhere," and they're just like just staring at the camera, nodding or whatever. And of course, Gronk riding the coattails of greatness, and he's great in his own right. But man, he owns like his goatness. So.
And the tuck rule, that's not Brady's fault. The tuck rule wasn't Brady's fault. That was bad officiating's fault.
Yeah, that was the rule at the time. So
he doesn't need a 7th Super Bowl win to be the GOAT. I mean, he's probably been the GOAT since he won like his 5th. But yeah, you know, I get. That's the thing is that if he does win on Sunday, then if you want to be like, oh, the Patriots and good defenses and Bill Belichick, well, now he's done it somewhere else without Belichick. So it's like, you know,
you think Belichick wants to be there right now?
Right. And you know, there's no doubt that he's the probably the greatest football player of all time. Now, GOAT of all sports, I don't know about that. Jordan might have something to say about that.
Muhammad Ali.
And Muhammad Ali. So, but yeah, I mean, he's probably on the Mount Crushmore.
Tiger.
So, Tiger. No, I don't think a 7th one would put him as the greatest of all time in all sports.
He's on the Mount Crushmore, definitely.
He's on the Crushmore though. One more from Sturm here. Why is hockey the only sport with the testicular fortitude to make fighting a short penalty instead of a suspension? I don't know, Sturm, because hockey's the only sport that has fighting. Like
I'm trying to think if soccer does European football does, to be honest. I don't know if Smithy's still on the chat, but
I mean,
I know if you fight, you get a yellow card, maybe a red card.
No, if you fight, you get a red card, and
you
miss the rest of the game and the next game. So, I don't know, Sturm, because your dick's small.
Australian
I don't know.
Football.
All right,
there's boxing, sir, and UFC.
Yeah, you need which is funny because those are sports that Sturm likes.
There you go.
There he is. There's Sturm. All right, thank you, Term. Charlie, do you want to tackle Nico nonsense or?
Yes, I am going to tackle Nico nonsense. Question
Yeah.
number 1. How's
Yes.
it hanging? It's awesome.
Long and hairy and hard to carry. Okay.
Nice. Did you put that together this afternoon?
I thought, yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, well,
What
like
rhymes with hairy?
I mean, long and.
I'm just
you
kidding.
Never heard that?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I've known
Was
that
it
for about
short?
the last 30
Was it
years.
short, shriveled, and always to the left?
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. That's usually me.
Golly, love liar, liar. Question number 2. Ham?
Ham.
I love ham. My dad right now is all about the cutting board ham from Oscar Mayer, and he's like devouring it by the package. No, ham is good, man. The spiral honey ham, was it the honey baked hams? Oh my gosh, dude! Like it's come closer over the last few years, but I think ham is slowly but surely trying to eclipse turkey. It's hard.
To me, in general, it has already done that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I love ham.
The ham is ham when done really really right is really really right. So
to answer the question of ham.
Yep, that's the right answer. The wrong answer is turkey. Question number 3. Toothpaste.
I mean, toothpaste is good.
Is he literally just looking through his grocery list right now and be like, "That's a question"?
I mean, look, dude. Look, we both know Nick. Nick is weird. He's a weird guy. But to answer his question, toothpaste is good. You should use toothpaste.
Yeah. I use it twice a day. I love my toothpaste. Yes, a follow up from Sturm. Would bacon flavored toothpaste be brilliant, or would it be brilliant? Oh,
I'm gonna be honest. That sounds gross.
I love bacon a lot, dude.
Yeah.
I can't imagine using that stuff to clean my teeth.
It sounds gross.
Like there's something that toothpaste in regards to like cleaning and cleanliness kind of errs more on the sweet than savory.
Exactly.
So
minty.
like minty, vanilla flavored toothpaste may not be the greatest. It would be better than bacon.
Yeah.
Maybe maple bacon. I don't know. But
yeah. Or what if it's minty? What if it's minty bacon? That sounds horrible.
Oh. Anyway,
sorry, I love bacon, but no.
That is gross. That is the end of our mailbag session.
That's right. Brush your teeth.
We are not taking any more questions for the night. We are done with that because we got to move along, and we're moving along. Pam with
Pam
with an M.
You're saying Pam with an M and an
We can't do this because we have scatter shooting. I wish you could see me dancing. Yes, in today's scatter shooting, this is the MK quiz show, quiz scatter shoot quiz show, quiz. I got my contestant.
That's me.
Mitchie Poo. And what is up for tonight's prize? You get a spinal column freshly pulled out by Scorpion himself if you win tonight.
That's what I always wanted.
What biology room did they pull this spinal column from? I'm wondering. So these questions pretty much range from easy to hard, and I get that, you're not the be all end all of Mortal Kombat, but let's see what you know. Let's
see what I got.
Let's test your might. God, it took me forever to get to that under window. Question number 1.
Number 1.
What, and again, easy to hard. What is Scorpion's famous catchphrase?
Get over here.
You have to say it like Scorpion.
Get over here.
There you go. That's what I like. All right. You got 1. Question number 2.
Number 2.
The character Johnny Cage is based on who? What famous actor?
I don't know the answer, but I'm gonna guess. Is it based on Jean-Claude?
That is correct. Jean-Claude Van Damme is based on Johnny Cage is based on Jean-Claude Van Damme. That is right.
I wonder if they tried to get him for the movie, but he couldn't do it because he was playing.
He was playing Guile.
Yeah,
that be interesting. I don't think he would have. I like the Johnny Cage they brought up in there.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah.
Question number 3.
Number 3.
In Melina's MK2 ending, what reveal is discovered?
No, I have no idea that she has a penis.
Nope, that is not right. I hit the right buzzer. Like, nope, that's not right. Sorry.
That'd be amazing. Damn, Mitch, you knew that one too.
Apparently, she is of the same race of Outworld mutants as Baraka. So, basically, she reveals that underneath her mask, she's got that huge, maw that Baraka has.
The chompers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She fugly. Question number 4. In the Mortal Kombat movie, why is Liu Kang entering the tournament?
He wants to get revenge, or he wants to avenge his brother's death.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, see, easy. Question number 5.
Number 5.
Raiden is the god of what?
God of thunder?
That's right. See? Okay. Yeah, I mean, straight up, man. So far, you got 4 of 5. So
all right,
you're on track to make the playoffs.
All right, I'm feeling good.
I can't help it. I want to pronounce it Raiden. Stupid Metal Gear.
Oh, yeah.
Question number 6. What weapons are Kitana wielding in Mortal Kombat 2?
They're the fans.
That's right. Hand fans.
That's right.
All right. I started getting a little more dicier territory.
Okay.
Question number 7. Name the cyborg ninjas that debuted in Mortal Kombat 3.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea.
Just straight up give up there.
I don't even have a guess.
Well, you have the red one, which is Sector. You have Cyrax, who's the yellow one. And then Smoke has now become a cyborg ninja.
No,
he's the purple one. So
okay. All right.
Got nothing there. It's okay.
Nope.
Keep on trying. Question number 8. What is Liu Kang's friendship fatality in Mortal Kombat 2?
Man, I don't remember. I'm gonna have to pass. I don't know.
Oh, he is dancing under a disco ball.
Nope, that's not. Nope.
There was one I thought it was the one with the Mortal Kombat arcade machine falling, and he just does a pose, but that's Raiden.
Okay.
Question number 9.
Number 9.
Cabal is armed with what weapons in Mortal Kombat 3? Let me just give you a wrong here, or you gotta think about it for a second.
I'll say a saber. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they are swords, but we are specifically looking for his hooked swords.
Okay.
Question number 10.
Number 10.
What is Kano's most signature physical trait?
It's his face. He's got the metal thing with the red eye.
Yes, that is right. Basically, the Terminator eye.
Yeah.
All right. So after 10, you're halfway there. We got 20 questions.
6 out of 10? Yeah, 6 out of 10.
We got 6 out, so we're 6 and 4, entering into the backstretch here.
Okay.
Number 11. What is the name of the hidden character named from the creators of the game?
Hidden character? Is there a specific game?
He would be in Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh, no, I don't know.
He's a hidden character, but if you know the characters of the game, you may be able to parse it out. Maybe? No?
No.
Okay. Well, the character's name is Noob Saibot, and he was named specifically after the creators Ed Boon and John Tobias. If you do it backwards, it's Noob Saibot.
Real quick, trivia from the movie. The voice of Scorpion, Ed Boon.
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
It's Ed Boon.
Get over here.
Get over here.
Or get down here. Oh, sorry, Ed. All right, question number 11. Oh, I'm sorry, number 12.
Well,
which character in later renditions should have been in Mortal Kombat 1, but was replaced with Sonya instead?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably another girl. I don't know. I'm not familiar with future.
Actually, that character was Stryker. He was the cop from Mortal Kombat 3. The reason they put Sonya in it was because there were no females yet. So they actually put a girl in there because of that.
And then she eventually got with Adam Sandler.
That is correct. Oh, man, I was so disappointed by that part. Danny Farley. Question number 13. What characters does Johnny Cage fight in Mortal Kombat the movie?
He fights Scorpion and Goro.
That's right. Very true.
True that, double true.
Question number 14. In the fight versus Kintaro in Mortal Kombat 2, you are in an arena fighting in front of Shao Kahn himself. Who is chained on each side of Shao Kahn?
Oh God, I don't know.
Chat, if you know, you may chime in at any moment.
Two Princess Leia's.
For any of these, for any of these questions, it's actually they're characters from playable characters from the first game that weren't playable in the second game. It's Kano and Sonya Blade. They were captured, and that's why Jax was there as a playable character. Now he was actually there to rescue Sonya. All right, question number 15. Mortal Kombat vs. DC was a crossover that pitted the Mortal Kombat characters versus the renowned DC comic book characters. Of these, which is the only one to be found, which DC character that is the only one to be found to have crossed over to a Mortal Kombat standalone title? He's in the most recent one. That is right. That is very right. I was like, I think he would know this one. It's very top of mind at the moment. Question number 16. How many Mortal Kombat games are there?
Are you talking main series? Or are you talking everything?
Yes, I'm talking main series, and I will include the DC Universe versus Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay, so it's not okay.
So I'm not talking there's the arcade version, not versions, just like Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, etc., etc.
Well, I mean, they're through 11, so. But if you're also including I guess, did they only make one of the DC crossover ones? So 12?
Is that your final answer?
I'll say 12.
You were literally off by one. You're right. They did make 11, not including the Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, which made 12. But in 2016, they made Mortal Kombat XL, which technically is not a virtual spin-off from Mortal Kombat 10. It was actually its own standalone title as well, so they consider that 13. I know. Des caught it. Number 17. Liu Kang was a fighting monk for which order?
The Shallow Monks, right?
That's right. That's very correct.
They made a video game about it, a spin-off video game.
Oh, did they?
It's supposed to be horrible.
Oh, really? Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, everything can be good. Mortal Kombat Annihilation's out there, so. Question number 18. Why are there 2 Sub-Zeros?
There are 2 Sub-Zeros?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, there are 2 Sub-Zeros.
I don't know, because they're twins. I don't fucking know.
Oh, well, they are brothers.
And they're happy and they're singing.
Yeah. Well, one is colored. He actually has a red scar that was given to him by Kung Lao. So, question number 19. What is the name of Shao Kahn's weapon?
Oh, I have no idea.
Do you know what the weapon is? And I'll give you partial credit. Overtime.
Is it a spear?
Oh, no. It's called the Wrath Hammer. It's this big hammer that he just like comes out of nowhere, and he can stun you with that thing and just completely go to town on you. Last but not least, the last question, number 20. What type of finish him move would regress one's opponent back into infancy?
Those aren't they babalities?
Yes, the babality. the most insane one.
They did some stupid stuff in that era.
Midway, man. They will go to town on it, man. But I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So
I'll take it.
You went all
I went Cowboys 8 and 8.
You went Cowboys 8 and 8. Tried and true,
yeah.
man.
Jason Garrett era.
And
Love
folks, that is the 26th episode, the Mortal Kombat episode of the MC Gamescast.
Hell yeah.
That was quite a show, man.
Oh, man, that was fun.
I can't wait. No, seriously, I do have more ideas like coming down the pipeline that
we'll talk
about this.
We'll talk tomorrow.
I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow about that.
Yeah. We'll talk tomorrow about some of the ideas.
Yeah. But yes, for those of you who have lasted this long with us, we appreciate you guys coming out tonight. We appreciate you guys being out in the chat. Tell everybody about us. Tell your friends, man. We like to spread our wares. We are growing, and we are continuing to grow into the podcast/stream game sphere, and we need any and all hands on deck to do that.
Yeah, we're a shower and a grower.
That's right. And heck, your mere presence here, fills us with all the feels and definitely makes us, it increases our enthusiasm to do this week in, week out. We love doing this stuff, and it's a blessing that we can do this during these times right now. I got nothing more today, man. What do you got something going tomorrow? You said you might be doing something tomorrow in regards to that Rocket League.
So I haven't streamed in over a week aside from the podcast, and I want to stream some of that Super Bowl Gridiron Rocket League mode because it's really neat. So yeah, come on by if you want to see that. It's cool. And Charlie, since it's a casual mode, it doesn't matter if I win or lose, so you can come by too.
Yeah, man. I mean, if I may not play, but I'm definitely gonna go check it out.
It's cool.
I'm definitely looking forward to a day off from the wasteland. I'll be back on Thursday.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Show me what's up. Yeah, no, totally. Like I can't. Like the way you described it, I was just like, holy crap, you can do that? That's awesome.
It's really neat.
It is really neat. We are really neat. This is the MC Gamescast. Holy crap. I am at Charizard81 at twitch.tv. I'm Charizard81 at practically every social network. You can meet my buddy Mitchell at Team Llama Gaming, Team Llama Squad, twitch.tv, at his Discord, on his Twitch and Twitter. I'm spent. I am done. I'm ready to get out of here. I'm ready to get the week started. Because, I mean, to be honest, this is the start of my week after Tuesday. I mean, it feels like a 3-day week after this. I don't know about you, but
pretty much
this is how it feels to me. But I'm not going to even wait for this thing to go full tilt. We are the MC Gamescast. We love you guys. Deuces. Laters.
Good.